Enormous round of applause for my dear friend Patrick, all the way from Nova Scotia, Canada. Patrick, come on out, buddy.
Wow, this is fun so far. So I'm Patrick Johnston. I'm from Halifax, Nova Scotia in Canada. By waving of hands, how many know where that is at all? All right, good stuff. So it's the polar opposite of here. And we're here to have fun and share some information of how we've done things. So good to see everybody. Before I get started, I wanted to acknowledge a couple things that have happened in the last couple of years. Because I don't want people to think that it just happened like that. When we started in 1996, we were working at a regular full-time job, trying to make things work for the future, not knowing why we were doing things, but we were doing it to create a difference in our life. In August 2010, when I came here to reacquaint myself with Tom and the gang, I took a year and a half off of coaching, and it was the worst year and a half I've ever had in my life. You lose direction and you lose focus. As an entrepreneur, as an agent in the market, you think you have everything going on and everything just goes like this. So in August 2010, I had just finished ending 2 business relationships, which was a big giant negative fight, which resulted in an accumulation of a success story of congratulations, you now own the companies, followed by 30 days later of here's $450,000 of bills and no money. August 2010 completed the end of our sales year, and I made $42,000 in that full year with a cost of living of about 12 or 13 grand a month. Sure, I had 475 units in my asset base, but during this whole giant interesting fight, those assets are frozen, so I couldn't have access to anything. So that was interesting. So with my wife's permission, I came back here in August 2010 to make a commitment to myself and start over again. I had $1,500 of available credit remaining, and I committed to coaching in August of 2010. And I said to Tom that I need your help. I have to make this work. And then we started. So my personal thanks to Tom and Debbie for reacquainting with me and then moving my business and life forward. So from there forward, life went like this. Because simply someone could believe in my story, because as we all become successful in our lives, the people around us, we become a little bit of a misfit. You know what I mean by that? You have a little success and everybody wants to shove you back and say you can't do that anymore. So part of being reacquainted with a coach and having a mentor as part of your system, it allows you to think bigger. And that's, of course, why we're all here today, is to think bigger. There you go. So, August 2010, the first thing I had to do in my business was simply to re-engineer everything. And we took a system of being, I was a co-owner of a team. We sold roughly 200 homes a year on average. We had a buyer's agent and 2 assistants, and we made that work. It went very well. We grossed about 1.1 million, and I took home 15 cents on the dollar. How many people does that sound familiar to? Make a decent amount of money and you feel like you have nothing left at the end. So we had to re-engineer our life and in our business and start fresh. So we created a brand back then in August 2010 of Live by Leverage, which is simply a video blog site that allows us to express the challenges, the fun, the excitement, the negative, the really scary stuff that happens when you work in the investing world of real estate. So part of the things you want to do when you're considering buying apartment buildings for a living, or part of your plan for retirement or your next stage of life, is to really say to yourself, what do I want from this? Because it's not an easy road, but it's a very lucrative road if you pay attention to the things that are happening around you. So these are the questions that I asked myself back at that time. And most importantly, right at the top is, how valuable is my time, my energy, and my family life? Because when we start this process in real estate as a salesperson, we're working 7 days a week, 14, 15 hours a day, and then we're working through our sleep, mentally, processing information. And it's very hard sitting where you are now to say, yeah, I'll sign up for another 15 hours a day. I'm not sleeping on that back half of the year. But part of this journey is to say, I have to pay attention to me. This program, in my mind, is for people that if you go to the gym or need to go to the gym, you also have to start investing in your future, which is, in our business, if you're not buying real estate and you're a real estate agent, you shouldn't be hired by your clients. That's my personal opinion, because we're in a business that we can take advantage of, and that's important. Some of the other questions. Have you ever thought about what it would be like if you eliminate all your clients and have 100% of your income coming from your own investing strategy? Now, don't forget, we're realtors. When we buy assets for ourselves, we get paid. And if you do the right job, you can double end every single one of them. Right, Dave? So it's fun. It's fun doing that. Ask yourself, are you on that hamster wheel that we all feel generally in my market, November, December, January, February, March, no income, and then closings May, June, July, August, and then we start again for the following May to August for closings. So that hamster wheel of feast and famine. Your clients, generally speaking, when you're selling real estate, become better investors than you are. And they have you running around looking for the things that they should buy, but really you should be thinking, I should buy this. And every single transaction you look at or a listing that comes up, before you take it to your clients, you should really consider that, is saying, I should buy this before anybody else. I'm going to be a little greedy, personally, because we have the industry tools to make that happen. The other thing we asked is that who else in this business, in our market, is, as a realtor, is taking advantage of this? And there was nobody. Like, even the commercial brokers that I thought would have the inside track and understand, not a thing. They don't even own a single piece of real estate. And I said this to Dave, who works on the team, that I consider it a fraud if you're in the real estate world and you don't own real estate. It gives you the confidence to go to a listing presentation and say, I'm all in. I have this. Compare this to another realtor when you're being interviewed for the job. So part of what we do is sort of my stats here. 42, married, 2 kids, just about 10 years. We started with single-family townhouse condominiums. $85,000 for a condo is what we bought. And then we started moving forward. Today, it's just over 1,800 units, about $132 million, with about 30% equity in the projects. And we formed a leverage, what I call the leverage factors in our business, of which we created the companies surrounding that we get paid on everything that runs through the system. So I own the Century 21 Team 1 brokerage, which is a small team. It's about 8 people on the team. They're all here today. Nova Scotia. Centum, which is a Canadian-based mortgage brokerage company, part of the Century 21 family. So we buy the real estate, we try to double end everything, then we put it through the mortgage company. There we get 1 to 1.5 points from the mortgage or the debt we borrow. We get paid to take that. Atlantic Living is my holding company. That's the public brand for all the apartment buildings that we own. Leverage Network is an event planning to give back, to do things like this, to show other people how they can apply leverage correctly in their life. And then the fun part of it, what I call the rum and coke part, which is Caribbean Living, which is starting in October of this year, where we bought into a development in the Dominican Republic, and we're going to fractionalize and sell condos and villas for fun. And that's what we're doing now, is applying our energy and our team into building that business. So you have to determine your why. No matter how you look at investing in real estate or apartment buildings, you have to really think of the top questions that maybe I thought were applicable for me. Number one is replacing single transactions and the energy focused on that to doing things in multiple. So when you first start and you're working with investors, that's the number one thing you should start doing, is working with investors and sort of be the sponge of those ideas that are coming from the people. And think, well, I want one investor, and I want you to do 10 deals, and I'm going to start engineering these deals and bring it to the investor, following the pattern of how you make money in this business, and then all they need to do is sign. So you send over the costing, you send over the plan of how they think in and out, you send the offer for purchase and sale, and they send it all back, and you keep moving. Multiple transactions from one single source is what you have to think about. The cost of business, instead of being 20 or 30% in our business, ours is about 6% cost of business, because you don't have as many clients. So you have to be prepared to make more commission checks, an average of 3 or 4 commission checks per transaction or per client, and have that client buy every year so that you become the expert. Try thinking about reducing your team count. Again, I ran a team with another guy. We had roughly 200 units that we did every year, but we said after that relationship finished, I want to generate the same amount of money, but I want to do it in less time, and I want to do it in less transactions. So just imagine in your life, if you could control your schedule, you can eliminate weekends, you can build a team of property management around you, but then you can still have a life and the money that you're used to earning selling full-time, and then therefore your best client being you and selling to you, which, as Dave and the team knows, we are the easiest person to deal with when we're the client. So that's a really important thing about it. And your plan has to be about eliminating the retail business over time and transitioning to be 100% of your own best client in 2 to 4 years. And the number one thing that I hear agents saying is, well, there isn't apartment buildings. Numbers don't work in my area. There isn't any small apartment buildings in Beverly Hills. True enough. But there are markets, no matter what state or province that you're in, that you can apply this business in an area that you work, or don't work. So I buy in the province next to us, and I'm not licensed there. I use an agent. And I have a referral fee that comes back, and I just pound that business through that agent. And then they do all the work. But we still know how to push the transactions through. So part of this business is just really taking advantage and learning the processes that are already around you. As professionals in the room, we deal with title, legal, inspections, appraisers, engineers, environmental specialists, mold remediation specialists, all the professionals. Those are the exact same people that we deal with daily. But instead of thinking for the client, you're now thinking for you. So the conversations are just a little different, but they're then all internalized. When you're starting to transition in a team to be investing, you want to have a small section of your team as property management, which really can be, in the first year, your assistant that answers a separate phone line as the property management office. So you start getting yourself exposed to investors and offering the service to differentiate yourself in the market. Just by show of hands, how many people are actively investing in real estate themselves right now? Okay. Keep your hands up if you are multiple family properties, 20 units or more. Okay, so look around. There's 3 or 4 people in this room that do that. So put that on your business card that you offer the services of investing, and then start to provide the services that support that. When you're starting to build your business personally, you have to commit some of your time and your money to put aside for this. So typically, as we all like to earn a lot and also spend a lot, we spend a lot on personal gratification items for the immediate term, dinners and entertainment and tickets and vacations, etc., which only live for anywhere between an hour and a week. So you really want to set aside, in my opinion, 50% of your income, or as much as you can, to buy real estate immediately. Because as we all know, real estate has a compounding effect. So whatever you spend today, it's worth a lot more the next day and forward, especially when it pays you to buy it. Do you understand? If you put $50,000 or $100,000 towards anything and you're making 5 or 7% return on your money, just to close the transaction, and then money every day forward from that, it's well worth it. Well worth it. Create that 1, 3, and 5-year plan. You're forced to do it. Because we all learn as realtors, being professionals selling multiple transactions, that's what Tom tells us to do. But in this world, you must do it. Because you have to plan for the bank, for the lenders, you have a 5-year loan that you're taking out, you have a capital plan to put in place to renovate a building and bring it around. Those things are required, so therefore you have your business plan to match your regular real estate business plan, and you move forward. Tracking down people to assist you in the process is easier than you think. There is a ton of cash money in the market, U.S. and Canada. Everyone's afraid of the stock market. They're afraid of all the being afraid things. And then if you have a system or a plan that you can demonstrate that this can be done, you can borrow money all day long. But you have to start circulating in that environment of people that have been hoarding their money aside to pay back. In the Canadian marketplace, the returns on this style of lending is anywhere between 7.5% interest only to 11.75% interest only, which seems very expensive. But when I'm turning an asset, we're buying an asset for $2 million, and 45 days to 90 days later, it's worth $5 million. I can pay 11.75% money for a 3-month window to get us through that process and put it in long-term financing. So it's a win-win. You get all the rich guys that have all the money that says, here's $8 million, and they're making the money on it. I mean, one guy this year alone, we paid him over $1.2 million in interest, and he thought he won. But we created $95 million of assets in that same 12-month window that'll pay forever, multi-generational money. So it's important to think that through, and you have to have a plan for it, and we can help you through that process if you have questions along the way. But be prepared to sacrifice some time, some energy, that extra hour, or I call the Friday afternoon, to educate yourself, watch a lot of YouTube and Google a whole bunch. It's all out there. You can do it already. The information's there. But it's about spending the time to continually educate yourself to move forward. But the rudimentary part of apartment investing is the same as our transactional real estate business. Your entire team, the way it's set up, is exactly what you need. You have buyer's agents, you have transaction coordinators, you have finance partners and legal partners, all the rest of it, it's the same. So you're literally, it's a mindset change between your ears than it is to learn something new. You just have to expose yourself to what's happening around you. So my plan for this year and going forward, this year our original goal was to add about 800 units to the system. We will be about 1,100 units to the system. So our goal is 5,000 units in 5 years. This is year number 2. At the end of 5 years, we don't know what we're doing yet. We're either going to sell to a REIT, so create enough to sell to a REIT, or to continue the growth. And at this point, if you can make the money that we end up doing, and you can manage the process, you can keep the units forever, or just take the cash out and go and do your dream. So cash flow for us, which would be at the end of the 5-year window, would be about $350,000 a month after all expenses. Currently, with about 1,800 units, we're around $80,000 net per month after all expenses in the property management company. We're developing the Caribbean Living brand and the awareness of that, and we'll be selling that through our Century 21 brokerage in our market to people that want to invest. And the Leverage Network is being launched in the fall as well. We're doing a couple speaking programs on how to generate the same program for other realtors and other investors in the marketplace. So to succeed in leverage, these are the most important things you have to think about. You can't do it alone. You have to have partnerships. They are good or they're bad, and they are very ugly. So you have to interview the people, and very carefully, as you would with a life partner, because you're putting everything on the line with a person. So typically I would do a criminal background check. I'd ask to see their net worth statement. I'd ask to see their credit bureau, and I'm not afraid to ask it anymore because I screwed that up twice. Okay? So those are the things you need to do. And we have to take our real estate sales hat off instead of being happy and be serious, because this is a business, and it can commit your family to a huge effort if you don't. You have to have your passion involved in this. This has to be the thing that you believe in and that you're working towards. You got to really understand leverage and the power of a team and the power of working together and leaving some for the team, but the rest is for you. It's a very important aspect. It's no longer about you. It's about the whole system and the reliance of people on it. Internalization. All of your business systems, we have a rule in the company that if we spend more than $50,000 a year on any product or service, we look to hire that person inside. You know what I'm saying? So we now own our commercial garbage truck, the guy that, you hang on the side and you go down the street. We have one of those, which is my pride and joy, because we used to pay $400 or $500 a month per building for garbage times 54. So that garbage truck saves us a ton of cash. And combining roles when you internalize is critical. So in our market, when it snows, the garbage guys do garbage 2 or 3 days a week and do all the grass cutting in the summer and the snow removal in the winter. So you just compound and save a ton of money. But more importantly, in our market and yours, we create jobs. We went from this time last year at 3 people internally, administratively, and 2 on external, meaning operational, to, as of today, 35 people on administration and 45 on our construction team. and then a year. So payroll is a weird thing to get used to in that manner. So when you can create jobs, create a ton of cash, create net worth, it's fun. You show up more. So investing is part of the business that you just have to get your head around. You have to step up to the plate as a professional and say, this is my job, this is my industry, I should participate and go all in and do it. It's the best way to really think about things. The rules of continued success in my book is the hangout factor. This event, we learn a lot 9 to 5, but we learn a lot more standing in line between 7, I should say that the right way. We learn more, not a lot more, but we learn more. Standing in line 7:30 till 9 o'clock in the morning before it opens up and we get going, and then after 5 by sharing ideas and sharing knowledge back and forth so that we can apply it in our businesses. You have to educate yourself. If you're not in coaching, get in coaching. It saved my family and my life. And I don't know if anybody can understand how that impacts your life when that makes a difference. But I can tell you, we had $1,500 left, and I put it all on black. And I'm so glad that we were here. I'm so glad for Tom and his company to be around to allow us as professionals to really get to the next stage. You have to understand also the last point, which is failing. You will lose money. You will lose buildings. It costs us about $25,000 for a small 20-unit, 25-unit building to go through the due diligence to decide if we go ahead or not. So you have to learn that that's part of the game. But by knowledge and opening your mind up to understand the reports, working with the professionals so they can give you the reports in advance as examples so you can learn, you'll save a lot. But that's failing or passing on a project to move on to the next one is part of the process. We do it every day when we lose a client, when we fail out by not providing a service, but I'd rather be failing internally and learning and applying it to my skill. So things that inspire me to continue through the apartment investing, and of course the industry, is my family. And my lifestyle is incredible. Now with Tom's assistance, we made a major commitment as a goal for this year. It was to buy our dream home, our luxury villa, as I call it, in the Dominican Republic, which I signed on Friday on my birthday. So that was a huge, huge piece for me. And of course, we leveraged it and we structured it with a vendor take-back mortgage over 5 years. But that's part of the business. You can't get a mortgage in the Dominican Republic. You have to pay cash. So you have to get creative on how you did things. But helping others grow is very big for me. Participating in this, for all of us as speakers, is very, very rewarding to show you what we've learned or what's applying in our life that works. And you can take 1 thing or 2% or 5% of what you learn through here and take action on it. The biggest thing if you fail is being inactive or not taking action on something. That's the biggest part of your not getting started that will cause you to not proceed in your life. The last one I always have for fun, because it drives my staff at the office crazy. Listening to Latin music and 80s retro new wave. That's what I'm all about. So, anyway. So, just do what you need to do. Get inspired on whatever you need to make your life work. Turn up the radio before you get going in the day. Get up early. Read great books. Surround yourself with great people. Eliminate everybody else in your life. And start buying the real estate that's around you. We look at it as Canadians in your market, because generally speaking, when it's 50% off or 30% off, and you're not buying it and making a 6% commission, we know the market's coming back. Is it coming back in wherever you are? So buy now, add 25% to your increase for next year, and earn a 6% commission. And do it today. So thank you very much for allowing me to talk this evening. Thank you.
Hey, that's you, baby. All right. Nice job. All right. So